Welcome, everybody, to this week's Menlo Midweek podcast. My name is Mark. Phil's here as well.
Just us?
It's just us today, buddy.
Look at that.
I know. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Hey, I was thinking about, since we talked about Christmas shopping and kind of rules around Christmas last podcast, that got me thinking, Phil, if you could get one thing for Christmas this year, no strings attached, this doesn't really fit in the budget, but if someone was just like, Phil, what do you want? Let me get you something. What's on Phil's wish list?
It's a good question. Alyssa, if she was on the podcast right now, she would say, well...
Would she ever come on the podcast?
Maybe. She would be way more comfortable with something like this than she would the weekend.
Okay.
Although,
good to know.
I don't know if you've looked at the Gathering Roadmap. Mother's Day, there's a chance we're working on something, so we'll see. But I think she would... It could be a thing, yeah.
Yeah.
We'd have to figure out when to schedule it for her. But,
That'd be fun.
She would tell you if Phil really wants a thing, he just waits and then just buys it himself. So it's
okay.
It's like that's why it's hard to buy things for me, which is probably true. I just feel like some of that's kind of being an adult. You know, if you're like I'm into
definitely.
like one or two things, and
Yeah.
if there's like a random thing for that thing that I really like,
Yep.
you know, like I'm not waiting till the next holiday to get like that new pair of running shoes. I'm just gonna get those shoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like running, biking, and technology. Those are kind of like my big hobbies, and the Cleveland Browns. But there's nothing you
can't buy the team?
You can't. I mean, maybe it's about that value level right now.
I don't know much about that, but that sounds about in line with what I do now.
I think that now that kind of stuff for me is all about experiences.
Yeah.
It's way less about physical stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that being able to go do something with Alyssa or with friends. I do stuff with our kids, so I'm not like trying to exclude them. But in terms of something that would be like fun and relaxing, to not feel like you had to parent during it, trying out a new place, exploring a city, those would be, that type of an experience would be fun for me. I could probably never go to Disney again in my life and I'd be fine, so that's not on that. But I was in New York for a ministry thing with Javon and Mark a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And we were just in New York City for like a day. Yeah. Because we were in this conference, but it was so fun. And Mark Kim was amazing as like a tour guide. He had done all this work.
It's peak Mark Kim.
Yeah. He was like, all right, guys, we're going to go here. We're going to have this pizza. But like, don't eat too much because then we're going to walk another block and we're going to have another
kind of pizza.
And don't eat too much because then we're going to go to like Magnolia Bakery. And I was like,
that's great.
Okay, I'm just going to follow you around, Mark. Go for it. So
I love when that happens.
Maybe that's it. Maybe explore a new city with Mark Kim.
That's a great gift.
That'd be the gift I'd be looking for.
Yeah.
Yep. It was fun.
How
about you?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of in the same boat as you where, less about the things and more about either the opportunity that opens up with the thing or the experience itself. I think what could be really cool is something similar to like what you said, like a real nice stay somewhere with Missy and even with Micah too. I mean, he's still young enough at the age where it's not the most difficult thing to travel with him.
Right.
Still not saying Disneyland.
Yeah.
But, going abroad or something with a kid that can't walk quite yet is probably a little bit easier than a 2-year-old or 3-year-old. I don't know. Maybe that's just early childhood naivety. You're
correct. Yeah,
okay.
No, that is. There's like a window. You're in it. And then he's going to get old enough where he is super mobile.
Yep.
And now, but he's like got very specific schedule and you're still doing diapers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you'll get to like, I would say 5 or 6. And all of a sudden they're like really fun, very communicative. They can kind of hang. They don't need a nap.
Cool.
They don't need your help to use the bathroom. And then you're like, sentient beings. Like it's an amazing milestone. And for us with 4 kids, we just kept hitting reset on that. And so now that Wells is our youngest at 6, we can kind of do it at like they can all hang, which is super fun. They're all going to do it at different levels, but it's you should take advantage of it right now because you're going to get a couple years where it'll be a lot trickier.
I've been trying to slow roll some potential vacation spots that are both warm and tropical, but also offer really good fishing.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
So I'm like, miss, what about like Bali or like these like kind of niche spots where I know the fishing's actually really good?
Amazing.
Thinking like, we could go and just like relax on the beach and stuff, and like I might go fishing once or twice.
Yeah. A day.
But, like, one guide trip later, all day. Yeah, for sure. So maybe a guide trip somewhere else could be a real cool thing.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
But yeah, it's cool, man. And I mean, I feel like for me, as we look back at this last week's message, just the story about how you can comfort your kids at nighttime in the shadow when they're panicking, like that just hits so differently for me now as a parent. For those that are like, what the heck are you talking about? Let's dive into your message and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so the way that Advent usually works is you're picking individual characters in the Christmas story, and you're highlighting both that character and a particular theme. And if you're like, that's kind of clever, where did you guys get that?
Yeah.
Church has been doing it for a couple thousand years. And so we always try to take kind of a fresh perspective to that. And so this year it wasn't, come all ye faithful. It was come all ye faithless. So how do we look at kind of the shadow side of what all these different characters in the original story are navigating? Yeah. And so last week we looked at Mary. The first week, Joe crushed it when she looked at Elizabeth. And then this last week, we looked at Joseph. And with Joseph, we were identifying kind of this unique anxiety that he was living with and that was manifesting as he was making decisions that culturally were like actually very nice. Like he was trying to be nice to Mary, trying to help her avoid consequences.
Right.
But he was doing all of it within the framework of like, how do I control this? How do I orchestrate a specific outcome, which is what our anxiety often pushes us to do. And so I tried to clarify, we're not talking about like clinical anxiety that you need medication or should be seeing a counselor for. We advocate for both of those things. We have a booklet we put together with a network of counselors you can find at menlo.church/connect. What we were talking about, and what I think from the text, it looks like Joseph was more dealing with was just the regular kind of chronic anxiety that everybody carries on some level. And I think in Silicon Valley in 2025, we carry especially. Yeah. And so I talked about kind of this code red concept and that we are often living in this panic mode all the time. And so then we paralleled both the indicators of that anxiety for Joseph and then the counteraction in the story that we see God show up through an angel and just assure Joseph ultimately that his identity is rooted in God no matter what the outcome is, that God is providentially in control. There's no accidents. There's no catastrophes that disrupt the plan of God. He's always there. He's always trustworthy. And that ultimately there is a presence from God that he can trust that's bigger than the pressures that he feels. And then, I made this kind of parallel. Obviously it's a real life parallel, so it's not one to one, but this illustration of our kids all at different points when they were younger, they would get scared at night, and it manifested differently for all of them. But there's this this sweet little moment that you would have as a parent where you're somewhere else in the house, things are quiet, you've put the kids to bed, you're doing dishes, you're sitting down for the first time, whatever you're doing, and you just kind of hear a little voice, or you hear tears, or you just kind of tell something's wrong, and you walk in, there's a monster under the bed, or there's a sound outside, or it's too dark. And I talked about how early on with kids, the instinct in that moment is to like prove it, like, let me flip the light on for you, let's open the closet, let's go to the window, and you're like kind of exhausting every one of those options. And then as you learn as a parent, really what your child needs in that moment is to just be soothed. They need to be reminded that you're there. And so I talked about, over time, I would just sit on the bed, maybe even lay down with them and just be there. And because I was there, they didn't have to be scared anymore. Yeah. And they knew as long as I was there, there was no danger. And then, eventually they would stop crying. They'd breathe a little slower. They'd fall asleep. You'd set them down. You'd leave. And when you left, the conditions were exactly the same as when you got there. Like, it was still dark, still shadows, still noise outside, probably still a monster in their closet. Don't tell them, But this principle that when your dad's there, whatever shadows you're facing in life, they are much, much smaller than you think they are. And so I think trying to communicate this idea that hopefully sticks with people, that when they feel that code red moment, when they see red, when they're feeling backed into a corner, to remember that just as real as it is for me to be with my kids in that moment. God's with his kids in those moments for us, and we can trust him, even if the circumstances of our life don't get better. Because in Joseph's dream, when he woke up, no circumstances in his life were better. It was exactly the same as when he went to bed. And yet, he had peace.
Yeah. What I find super interesting about that as well, that analogy, is that Micah is not old enough yet to know that darkness means monsters. So when he wakes up in the middle of the night, it's complete, where's my dad? Where's my mom? It's not that there's an external, like, I heard a noise and it's scary. It's just the abandonment. Or maybe he's hungry. I mean, I could be or pooped or, whatever else. But, like, the idea that some of those learned paranoia, those learned things that I'm anxious about are, in fact, learned things.
Totally.
When that situation can be completely... I might be more scared of what could be outside in the dark than Micah is at this point.
Sure. Yeah.
And so it's interesting how at some point that can shift, and then Micah will learn somehow that, a noise could mean something scary.
Yeah.
Or the darkness doesn't mean, oh, I just can't see. It actually means, oh, there could be bad things lurking. And I think that for a lot of us too, I'm curious about, man, what are the things that I'm learning how to see that are actually causing more anxiety in my life, that if I had the perspective of either me back then or a parent's perspective in that same situation, what noise am I inflating in my mind that I actually don't need to be worried about?
Totally. Yeah. I think that's a great call out. And I mean, I do think that there are conditioned behaviors and influences in our life where, I talked about the fact that both anxiety and peace are contagious. And so, I mean, I think there are times in our life where what you're consuming, how you're spending your time, the relationships you're giving closest access to your life, they can spread anxiety in you. Versus going, you know what, God, I'm going to make space. I mean, I think that the thing that probably creates the most honest, real peace for me is taking walks. I'll listen to worship music a lot, or listen to a sermon, or listen to nothing. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not scrolling. And I just feel like my internal temperature and sort of cruise control of life get reset in those moments.
Yeah, definitely.
And then whatever I'm walking into for the rest of the day, I can live in a way more unhurried way than if I'm just kind of going thing to thing to thing. And this time of the year, I really have to be intentional about it. And it's not usually in my normal rhythms. So like even today, I had an appointment, and I had a small little window before that appointment, and it was in Palo Alto. And so I went to the place where I was going to meet somebody, and I just sat there for a few extra minutes. I took a little longer time to walk there, and I just sat there for a few minutes and read. And I could kind of feel that, because right now, this week, I mean, I think you're like this too. Like, I think I have 5 nights out a week this week where it can feel like, well, I was out till 10 and then my next day started at 7. And so I'm like going home, sleeping, waking up, going to work. There's no break. Like your break is unconsciousness. And then you're back at it. And so if I'm not careful, I feel like my soul just picks up the level of anxiety that I finished yesterday at. And that's where I start today. And I have to create these little interrupts where I go, God, I'm with you right now. It's Advent. I always say, this is going to be such a crass example. I always say, man, I want to make sure I'm smoking what I'm selling. Like, it's Advent time. I want to make sure that the message of Jesus at this time, Emmanuel, God with us, that's just not a message I'm telling other people about. That's a message I'm embodying myself.
So good.
And so I think for all of us, we probably have a mirror check we need to be doing throughout this month.
Yeah, definitely. I was writing an email to some of the leadership team that I have for online stuff, and part of that email was inviting them to journey along with us with the Advent devotional that we've been doing. And I had the same thing. I was like, I need to be doing this to make sure that as I'm leading this team and doing it, I'm not just saying, here's another thing that just came across my desk and I'm passing on.
Right.
But this is actually something that I'm living out, that I'm taking time with. And I was honest. I was like, hey, Micah, Missy, and I have been doing this every morning. We have a little Advent calendar that we'll do. We'll peel off the little sticker, put it on there. And it's not the perfectly polished thing that you're thinking of. This is spilled coffee, Micah's food everywhere. But it's the process of making sure that we're focusing the start of our day with God and journeying towards Him for this season.
Yeah.
And I feel like that has been in the midst of
long nights, long rehearsals, lots of stuff going on. Like that has been that breath of almost white space where my brain can kind of shut off for a bit. I can just focus on what's happening here. And that code red maybe goes down to an orange for that bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think that everybody's got their own story as a person. And then when you have kids, I think you get sort of a unique new beginning point in your story as a person. And, there's this concept psychologically called secure attachment theory, where our ability to have healthy, meaningful relationships with other people, like what you're doing for Micah right now, I hate to burst your bubble, he is not going to remember it.
Yep.
He's not memorizing those scriptures, but what you are modeling for him is psychological safety. You're training him to have secure attachment relationally. And so, like for me, I grew up in abuse. I did not have a context where I was learning secure attachment. So part of my work in therapy has been, how do I cultivate the capacity for secure attachment as an adult?
Interesting.
And kids, you don't want your kid to be your project, but kids are a really big gift if you allow them to be, because you get to set all these new rhythms of how are we going to spend time differently? How are we going to spend time intentionally? And I mean, I think, I sat here in the seat you're in talking to Joe and Vince just a few weeks ago, and we were talking about kind of the intentionality of conversation. And honestly, even that was kind of challenging for me, because some of it was like, man, I just have not thought about it the way you're talking about it. And so especially with our kids, I've just kind of cultivated a list of like way better questions. And I've kind of caught myself, because there's, when you don't function with secure attachment, it's very easy to do small talk, but that's not secure attachment. It's pretty hard to do meaningful conversations. And those questions can honestly usually be like an invitation and access to that. So, I mean, I think that with Micah, he's going to remember at a base level how he feels, that he feels safe, that he feels like he's got parents that love him and that are present with him, who are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Right. But you're also going to get the same opportunity to go, I've got a little man in my life that sees me as safe. And that's going to change you just as much as it changes him.
Yeah. The trappings of that too is I perceive control over that safety. Like if I act a certain way, if I put pressure on myself to be a certain way or maintain a certain standard that's either attainable or not, that will eventually I won't hit. Like there is a learning piece there too for not just Micah, but everyone in my life that I'm trying to, be a good steward of God too.
Right.
Ooh, that could be a lot of pressure. It could be a lot of control. And man, to be able to learn to let go of that is something that we see modeled in Joseph.
Right. And just wait till you have a 16-year-old.
Oh yeah, man.
Who's going, hey, Dad, you seem kind of stressed out. You good? And you're like, wait a second, you're not supposed to.
Whoa,
That's my job. They read your mail quick.
Whew.
Yep.
Interesting. We also saw in Joseph that there are a few different things where like his kind of emotions, similar to the pressures that I can kind of feel bubbling up inside me of broken timelines, fear of other people's opinions, like weight of responsibility. This season uniquely gives us kind of false quick hits, if we want to talk about the sugar rushes of like doing a callback to last week of, hey, these things, if I do these things, I might be able to solve those right away. Maybe that is, I don't know, getting my to-do list for Christmas. Or if I go out and do that light show with my family this weekend, how can we learn to parse out the things in our lives that might just be, yes, those are great things for the season to do. And, it could be a really awesome thing, but those aren't ultimate things.
Yeah.
And what are the ultimate things that this season offers for us?
Yeah. I mean, I think part of the internal question is, are you doing this for other people? Are you doing this for your family? Are you doing this for God?
Yeah, that's good.
And I think there's kind of three primary feeds in our life that help reveal that. I just think in general we need to post less stuff on social media, like in our lives.
In agreement with that.
And so if you're doing that tree thing, or you're doing it because you want to make sure that you can post that perfect, you're not even really experiencing it. Like we know that. And we pulled back. I mean, COVID and all that stuff and everything that was happening at the time, I think all of a sudden we felt the pressure of like, if I didn't post a thing on that day, then I was in trouble. Or if I did post it, but it was on the wrong day, I was in trouble. Or if I posted it, I think we felt all that. But then one of our kids, they would have people come up to them and talk about stuff that we posted that they were in the picture of, like just random strangers because they followed us on socials. And so that child was like, "Hey, can you not put any of this online anymore? Like, I don't have to think about who I need to talk to about this family thing. Like, I just want this to be for us." And so I think we just pulled way back.
Yeah.
And you know, you're going to do whatever you need to do, but I think especially this time of year, just the noise of people's expectations, I think that's one way you can turn it down.
Yeah.
You're not thinking, "Oh, I didn't get as many likes on that photo, or I didn't get as many comments, or people didn't say that I look cute, or what." You know, that's what I'm looking for when I post, for sure.
Yeah, I know. You sent me a DM. Do I look cute in this?
Yeah. Thought I looked cute. Might delete it later.
Yeah.
But I think that the next layer is like, what is the thing that you're doing simply out of a sense of tradition? And that can be fun, but we've all sort of begrudgingly done traditions because we do them every year, but we're mad about it. And then I think going like, what are the things that are sincerely meaningful for you, for your family, for your time with God? And I think when that stuff can line up,
Yeah.
when it's like a cool tradition that feels nostalgic, that taps into the Christmas stuff. You know, this last week we did the Carols event at Menlo Park. To me, that's like one of those ones. I mean, I'd be there even if I didn't work at Menlo. Like, it's such a special
For sure.
moment, and you get this sort of portal into the presence of God at that time of year that I love. And then there's other stuff that I'm like, yeah, I just don't really care about that. You know, it does this do the same thing. So I think giving yourself permission, I think a lot of times we go, what's the tradition my family wants? What's the thing that people expect of me? What's what I have to post on social media? And those are all the big rocks that get put in first. And then we're like, oh yeah, I should like maybe just go read the story of Christmas myself for a while and pray if I have time. And then we do that, you know, exhausted the day before. And
that comes after, did I get through all the things that I had to do at work?
yes.
Is my inbox at zero?
Dude, 100%.
Yep.
And then you layer onto that, did I finish all my Christmas shopping?
Sure.
Right? Like that.
Yep.
And then like, oh, dear God in heaven, what are my finances going to look like next month after I did all this Christmas shopping?
And we said yes to a couple extra hangouts because it's the season and
Yes.
we needed to.
Yes. So I just think like we're trying to control things we don't actually have control of. And then we're blaming everyone else for decisions we actually do have control of. So I think being able to understand the areas you really do have agency and make decisions that honor God in your life, honor your family, and devalue the opinions of others.
Yeah. I like that. I'm kind of playing with this concept in my mind right now of, you know, we kind of have a agency over our anxiety. Like there's a bit of ourselves that can help control that. And anxiety, we talked about anxiety being contagious, but we also saw that peace can also be contagious as well.
Yeah.
So what could it look like for us to kind of flip that switch in our minds of, okay, I might feel the gravitational pull towards anxiousness in this season, but I want to be someone that emits peace.
Yeah.
What can that look like? How can we bring peace to the spaces that we're entering into?
Yeah, I mean, I do think some of it in this season is what we've talked about around interrupters. Like, what are the interrupters you can create in your life throughout your day?
That's good.
Is that like close your door? You know, for me, a big one that helps me is putting my phone on Do Not Disturb for periods of meditation, prayer, Bible study, reading. Because like the peak of my day, I was waiting for someone in that appointment earlier, and so I couldn't do this on my phone. So when I was reading with that margin, I was so annoyed because I just kept getting notifications. I mean, I was just like, zzz, 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 and I was like, go away, go away, go away. And for that reason, actually, I kind of like just reading books in those moments, like physical books. There's no notifications coming to me on the book. And so I think creating those natural interrupters for you that might be a cup of tea, that might be listening to a specific song or type of music. I'm kind of a vinyl like record guy person, and so I love that for one side of a record, it's not very long. So like put on a side of the record and sit for a minute and rest. You know, you may lose respect for me out there, but I smoke intermittent cigars. And that's like a 2 hour. There's nothing else you're going to do. And so I think you and I both like biking. For me, those are all like interrupters. Those are things that are like, I'm not doing this to be productive. And I can connect with God in a unique way, or connect with people in a unique way in this time. And I think that I say yes to stuff that I know is life-taking from me in the month of December out of social pressure. And just understanding and monitoring that. And then I also think, like, when you have a really full day, you have agency to control what in your day can you change, like what has to be different. And sometimes that may require your spouse to partner with you if it's like, hey, I'm going to need a little bit or whatever. Last week, I was just feeling the grind of the week, and I said to Alyssa, hey, this weekend at some point, I could just tell my body is exhausted. And I took Leo to his birthday party to do laser tag. I crushed, by the way. Turns out I'm real good at that when it's a bunch of kids. Like we're doing it every Saturday.
Just imagine you holding up one kid
That's
and just
right.
shooting him repeatedly. High score.
You're holding my gun. Don't worry about it. But I got back and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go like rest for a little while. And we talked about it, and I slept for 6 hours. And I was just
kind of crazy.
I was just tired. I don't nap normally, And then that night I slept normal. And so I just think for me, it was like, I knew the week that I just had, I knew that the couple weeks that were in front of me. And are you listening? Like, are you listening to what you need or don't need? And then we had an all staff day where we did our full all staff day. And then we do like a hangout at the end of our all staff day. That's like fun, but it's kind of big and chaotic. And then I had a ministry dinner that night that I was going right from there to the thing at. And I'm like standing back from the crowd for a minute, just like I'm not engaged with the whole team. And Taylor Corton from our Menlo Park staff, she's like, she's like, you seem like you could use just like a quiet room for a while. She could see it on my face. Like, yeah, I could. Yeah, or a hyperbaric chamber or something, And I think, just what does that look like for you? Do you know enough about yourself to know what you need? Are you introverted? Are you extroverted? Are you somebody that's going to engage with God and rest mostly in nature, or mostly in a book, mostly with music? Like, what are those tools? But I think especially right now, creating those interrupters so it doesn't just feel like my anxiety is, if it's like the pot of boiling water, is it just always sitting on a low simmer, and I'm always like one inconvenience, one frustration. That's the anxiety that I think can spread. It can spread through your family. It can spread through your team at work. I think at Menlo, it can spread through our whole church if I let it. Versus, I think if you're a person of peace and you've made time for that stuff in your life, you can walk into a situation where someone is very reactive, very frustrated, very agitated, and you're an ambassador of the peace of God with you. You're not perfect, but like that person's going to engage, and all of a sudden they're not even going to know how to deal with you because you're not someone that's meeting them on their level of anxiety. Instantly, you're going, hey, it's okay. Like, can I get you anything? Like, no, I'm mad. Okay, great. I'd love to listen to you. Like, I think that's a gift we can give this Christmas season.
Definitely. And that peace often comes from, one, embodying the presence of God. And that also means, God, you are in control.
Right.
And so let's talk about this little letter that you want us all to write, Phil.
Yeah.
So you invited us to write a resignation letter as I am no longer the master of this universe.
Right. Yep. I mean, I think that obviously it's tongue in cheek. Nobody thinks they're acting like the master of the universe. We just can't think of anything in our life that we don't imagine that we are in control of or should be in control of, and we're irritated for the things that we don't have control of, which that's kind of the master of the universe stuff. And so I think trying to just acknowledge, God, I'm not going to try to do that anymore. Like I'm going to let some stuff go. And then we named a couple things, right? Of trying to change your spouse, or maybe trying to change your office mate, or trying to change that classmate, or trying to change that teammate, or, trying to own the outcome in different areas of your life, and recognizing, I can't be the hero in every person's story. That's actually what Jesus is supposed to be. I need to right size my capacity. And I hope that for people that becomes permission giving this week, that as you're heading up to, there's 1,000 different ways that this shows up this time of the year, but I think one of the easiest to identify is kind of that Thanksgiving, Christmas. What are the family eggshells that you just know you now need to manage? If you're a person who's anxious, but like a highly functioning anxious person with respect to this, you've probably become the responsible adult in your family system. And it's not just like your family of origin. Sometimes it's also like your in-law family. And so you feel this pressure walking in to be like, I need to manage everyone else's emotions. And like, she's not okay. So like, we need to make sure this happens or this doesn't happen or somebody does this or doesn't this. Oh, he's sideways about this. So let's make sure. No. I mean, we don't need to be intentionally unkind. Right. But I think this idea of owning the feelings of others, we just can't do that. And so, trying to name and recognize some of those places where that type of an illusion of control has brought us to a place that's completely unsustainable. We actually can't do it. And releasing that to the Lord and living in a way that recognizes, what is it, God, that you're calling me to be faithful with? I'm going to be faithful with that. And I'm going to leave everything and everyone else to you.
That's so good. Last question, and then I'll let you chime in with whatever you want to chime in with. There will be people that have listened to this message and be like, but Phil, you don't know my story. My life is beyond repair. My situation is beyond repair. Maybe my job situation is beyond repair. To those people that are experiencing like that complete lack of, I don't even know what step to take, what would you say is, God will meet you in that, and these are some potential invitations to taking that first step. What are some encouragements we could give to those people?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say two things. When I was in Seattle, we had the president of the Union Gospel Mission speak at our church, and they predominantly deal with unhoused folks and have a shelter for them and a recovery program for them. And he said this line I'll never forget. He said, people in our ministry, they didn't enter the situation that they're in because they lost all their money. They're in the situation that they're in because they lost all their relationships. Whoa. It's not financial poverty, it's relational poverty.
Whoa.
And it was like, first of all, I was like, that's not true. You know? And then I was like, wait a second. He's like, think about it. Because all of you, if you lost everything you had tomorrow, you'd have a place to stay because you have relationships. You'd have somebody that would help you because you have relationships.
Wow.
So he's like, so when you see that person on the street, just understand that the number of rungs on the ladder that they've fallen down, it's not just resource rungs, it's relationship rungs. Jeez. And so it was just this like, oh my gosh, dude. And so I've never looked at an unhoused person ever the same, ever. Because I'm like, they've lost not just everything, but everyone. And what were the things that got them there? And I think that oftentimes it's not just fixing the resource problems. It's probably starting by fixing the relationship problems.
That's so good.
And so, you can't just go into it going, how do I get that thing? How do I get that promotion? I'm navigating this with a family right now who left the area, and they left the area because they were really frustrated around the like long-term prospects of like owning a home and having the kind of future that they wanted financially. And so they left and they went to a place where all that stuff would have been fine. But it was just a total soul level disconnect for them. And now they're working really hard to get back, to come to this area. And I think they're going to be able to do it. But all the things that made them leave are all true coming back. Actually, if anything, it was a financially costly decision to leave. And so I think that for some people, you just have to recognize if you're trying to solve 20 years from now for yourself and you're going, I'm just so stressed because I don't know about retirement. I'm so stressed because I'm not sure how I'm going to get my next house. I'm so stressed because I'm not sure when I'm going to meet my eventual spouse. I get it. Like, I don't want to minimize any of those feelings. And especially if you've had key disappointments in that area, those are so real. And God says, I love the birds of the air. And they don't add any value to that proposition. Grass of the field, lilies of the field, they're beautiful. They're more beautiful than anything you all have created, and they don't do anything. So if I do all that for them, how much more do I do that for you? And then it says, don't be anxious about tomorrow. Today has enough concerns of its own. And so I think for somebody in that situation, I would say first, aim at relationship before resources. Think about today before tomorrow. And then I think, my story and stories like mine are key examples that you think like, well, how do you know, Phil, like everything in your life seems so good. And I'm, very, very, very grateful for all that God's done in our life. But, I grew up in an abusive home that was very complicated. My brother ran away, almost died multiple times, ended up dying of a drug overdose. My brother and sister, who are both older than me, very dysfunctional situations for them. Learning disability, reading disability, severe dyslexia, debilitating stutter, 2 lazy eyes. If you're going like, I had kind of a mess, I'm telling you, I had a mess over and over and over and over again. And it was just, I wasn't trusting God with the next step because I was so mature. It's because it's the only capacity I had.
Yeah.
And so, decades of doing that I'm just telling you, it's worth it. It's worth it. Even if the circumstances weren't what they are for us, it would still be worth it. And I think if you can learn to be content with where God's placed you and what you're going through, it doesn't matter whether your stuff goes up or it goes down. You will do that thing that we talked about a couple weeks ago. You'll experience a joy that is beyond your circumstances. Because here's what I'll tell you. As much as you might look at Mark or I and go, oh, Mark and Phil have this, like their lives seem so good. And there's great things about our lives. Like we both married up 100x.
Oh, yeah.
We got beautiful kids. So grateful for that. But living in Silicon Valley, we haven't said yes to poverty by any means, but we have said yes to a life that looks way different. That like we owned a home and sold it before we came to Silicon Valley, and to do ministry in the community we live, we'll never own a home. So like that's what that's a sacrifice we made. We live around people. Scott Palmbush would always say, he's like, I cosplay being rich. We're cosplaying being rich all the time. We have people around us, like their net worth has net worths.
Yeah.
The interest on their assets is more than our income. And so I think if you can't be content, you won't be content even if you get the thing you want that you think will make you content. And if you can find contentment in Jesus right now, because Jesus is with you, it will not matter how much or how little you have, you can find contentment. We lived in Seattle after we first finished grad school, and our rent was $2,600. I think I was making like 40 or 45K a year. Alyssa's pregnant. Like we were figuring out life. We were committed to her being home. And you go, how did you do that? Like, honestly, now I don't even know.
Yeah.
But it was just trusting God.
Yep.
One step at it, we can be content. And we would see people with stuff, and like, that's cool. I mean, even now, people are like, hey, do you want to use this extra house that we have? And we're like, that's amazing. And we can choose. We can choose going, man, God, thank you so much that we get to use this week, or use this week. Or we can go, oh, man, God, we want to be able to have an extra house like that. That's our choice. Yeah. We get to choose that in our heart. And so obviously, I don't know what someone might be asking that question from in their own personal circumstances, and I don't want to minimize the mess you're in.
Right.
But if you tell me the story, drug addict, ruin your marriage, addiction, poverty, I'm telling you, I've got story after story after story of people in situations just like that who have turned to Jesus, who have trusted Him and built relationships with people. And while their life may not have been perfect, it was being perfected by the presence of God, and they found peace in the middle of it.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. That's great, man. I think this is a great time as we're all, that invitation for God to be with all of us is indeed for all of us. So let's talk about the 3 knots and how we can use those to help invite people to come journey with us, whether that's on a Sunday or for our Christmas services on the 23rd and 24th.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, we talk about this every time we get up to Christmas and New Year, especially because the underlying cultural assumption is that somebody's going to do something around this time of the year. Christmas in Silicon Valley, if you're listening to this outside of Silicon Valley, Christmas in Silicon Valley is kind of the lead one.
Yep.
When I was in Colorado, this happened both. Like there was about as big an expectation that people went to church at Easter as Christmas. Here, if you're unchurched, Christmas. You just don't care about Easter like that. That's not a cultural assumption.
That's for brunch and a little croquet game.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Christmas is like, we're going to do a Christmas thing. And if you're not doing it, you kind of want to do it. And you kind of want somebody to invite you in so that you're not just Googling a church name.
Right.
And so we try to give handles for how to do this. The ultimate invitation that we would love for people to be asking is, hey, would you like to sit with our family at Christmas? Would you like to sit with me at Christmas? Not, do you want to come to my church at Christmas, right? Here's the service time. No. Hey, this is when our family's going. Would you like to go? And maybe even, here's when our family's going, and we're going to have Christmas dinner together. Would you like to come have dinner with us? Maybe, who knows what God would do through that relationship. But it really, I think we want to create triggers to have that conversation, to make that invitation. And we frame them as the 3 knots. When somebody says that they're going through something that they're not prepared for, so, or like, things are like not going well, and you're going like, okay, so, marriage is not going well. My kid's not doing well. Man, that's a great time to be able to say, I'm so sorry. Are you guys doing anything for Christmas Eve? Like that sounds really hard. Well, would you want to come sit with me and my family at Christmas Eve? The second one is when somebody says, I'm not from around here. And so maybe that's somebody that's like new to the area. I always ask that question when I meet people for the first time. Are you, new to this or just new to the area or whatever? And there's so many people, our region's so transient, so many people that are new so often that they're looking for community too.
Yep.
And then the final one, I've not been in church for a while. And so if somebody, you're talking to them and you go, I'm excited about, what we're getting a chance to do for you guys, like, oh, Micah, this little baby, like, we're so excited still. It's such a fresh new thing to have Christmas with him and to do like the silent night moment and be able to do the candle thing and hope that he doesn't touch the hot wax and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And for somebody else to go, oh, that's fun. Like, yeah, we've not been in church in a long time. Oh, it's a really special part of Christmas for us. No pressure at all, but if you want, we'd love to have you join us. Would you want to come to church with us at Christmas? So I think those 3 knots are just, I think, helpful. It can be lots of things, right? But I think that for a lot of people, it represents an opportunity where the soundtrack of our culture lines up at times with the story of God, and I think we want to steward that the best we can.
Yeah, that's so good. Phil, thanks so much, man. This was fun.
Of course.
Spoiler alert, next weekend you have a weekend off.
That's right. Campus pastor time.
Yeah. And so, pray for your campus pastors. They're preparing for their message this week. And you're going to have live teaching on Sunday. So that'll be really rad. And also, for those that have been sending in prayer requests, just for you guys to know, we don't take those lightly. We have a team that meets every week where we are praying for you, and we really don't hold those lightly. And so thank you so much. We know that this season can be extremely heavy. It can also be extremely great. And so wherever you are on that spectrum, if you need any prayer encouragement, you can text our team, 650-600-0402. Have a great week, everybody. And we'll see you soon.
See ya.